Welcome, everyone. So I was covering the Las Vegas Aces against the New York Liberty. This was a great game. Very close, back and forth, back and forth. Nobody really had any kind of substantial lead through most of the game. And Asia Wilson got hurt in the second quarter. She ended up hurting her wrist. And she played through the rest of the quarter until halftime, but then she was out for the rest of the game. So the Aces ended up starting Kirsten Bell to take her place, and she did fine. I mean, she's not Asia Wilson, but you know, the Aces were in this game until the last 4 minutes. I mean, as far as point wise, it was only like a 2 point game or tied, or there were multiple lead changes. It wasn't until like the last 3 minutes that New York got some drives to the hoop and then were fouled, and all of a sudden an even game went to 5 points, and then it went to seven, and the Aces just didn't really have an answer. I mean, they did score after that, but they weren't able to pull it out. So that's essentially how the game was won. But there were great plays. There was one play where Dana Evans, who contributed a lot, she scored, I think, 16 or 18 points. I'll check on that. But she was at the top of the key, and I think she had picked up her dribble, and Sabrina Ionescu just came right like around her blind side and just grabbed the ball right out of her hands. I was surprised that none of the Aces players like warned her. I guess that nobody expected it to happen. It was kind of an unusual thing. You don't see that every day, where someone just rips it right out of your hands. It was anyway, when it was right out in the open, she ended up getting a layup out of it. So let's have a look at the stats here. So the Aces had one, two, three, four. They had five people in double figures. This was a good game. It was down to the wire, like I said, with like 3 minutes left. Either team could have won this. So Jackie Young had 19 points. Wilson had two before she went out. That was it for her. She was 2 for 2 at the foul line. Nalissa Smith had a nice game. She got some scoring for them down low that they've been missing, which is why they traded for her. So she was 4 for 5, and then 3 for 4 from the foul line. So Jewel Lloyd had 10 points. She's shooting really bad from three, but she's trying to make up for it now with drives to the hoop, which, she got. But, she was one of the league's leading scorers when she was in Seattle. So this is a big change for her. Chelsea Gray used to dominate so much, and she's just not doing that anymore. She had a moment in the second quarter where she hit 2 threes, and it was just, and then it like disappeared. That's the thing that's different. When the Aces were winning their championships a couple years ago, they would like just pound it. Chelsea Gray would be dribbling down and then doing those turnaround fadeaways and swishing them, and that's just not happening anymore. And she's not even getting assists. She only had 3 assists and 5 turnovers. She takes some chances with some passes, so she's going to get some turnovers, but usually she has way more assists than that. And she had 7 rebounds. So, and then Kirsten Bell came in the second half, and she had 9 points. She hit a 3 and got a couple of other hoops, and she was at the foul line. And then Dana Evans, she had 16 points. She had a good game for them, although she did get the ball stolen from her that one time with Ionescu. But and then Kia Stokes didn't score at all. She didn't even attempt a shot. Unfortunately for the Aces, that's not unusual for them. But the biggest difference, points in the paint were pretty even. Second chance points, New York was a little bit ahead of them, but not horribly. Fast break points, New York 17-7. The turnovers there was a little bit of a difference. The Aces had 16 and New York had 11. And New York ended up getting 23 points off those turnovers, whereas the Aces only got 18. So New York only had, 8 players, like 8 available players. So, they there's a lot of minutes here for Like, I'm getting worried about Stewie. She's going to need the All-Star break to rest. She's been holding down the fort with, I mean, because Ionescu was out for a while, and Phoebus was at Eurobasket, and Jonquel Jones has been out this whole time. Although they said on the announcement for the game that Jonquel Jones is going to be back after the All-Star break, and that's going to be big for New York because she just poses a threat down low that is really hard to guard, which is why she was MVP of the series of the championship last year. So Kennedy Burke, she had 10 points. Breanna Stewart, 15. She hasn't been scoring as much, but she's not. I think she's a little tired. But, you know, she relies on her team to. She's like, you usually won't see Breanna Stewart forcing stuff. She just kind of lets the game flow. She's not looking to outscore everybody. She's not, you know, she just kind of lets it happen. But she didn't shoot very, I mean, she was 1 for 2 from 3. She was 4 for 14 from the floor. So that's only 28%. That's bad for her. But she was 6 for 9 from the free throw line. And that's not great. I mean, she should be 8 for 9 at the worst. But it is what it is. She had 5 assists and 7 rebounds. And so then we had Sabali, 4 points. Phoebus, she's starting to get back into her old self again. She was looking better. She had 15 points. She was 54% from the floor, 6 for 11. And then Sabrina, you know, after that brief, I don't know, she had hurt her neck or something. And she had a couple games where she was just like she was there but not there. But 28 points for Sabrina, and she was part of that last 4 minutes. She had a big part in that. So she was 9 for 10 from the free throw line. She shot bad from 3. She was only 1 for 9 and 9 for 23. So that's not fantastic for her. But she still scored 28 points. Imagine if she was actually hitting. But she had 8 rebounds and 8 assists, 3 turnovers and 2 steals. And one of them was that one I was talking about. Maureen Johannes, 10 points. She was 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 7 overall. She hasn't even really got going yet. If she gets going, you know, she can go on a heater with those threes, and she just hasn't been taking very many of them. But she had 3 turnovers. She takes chances with passes. 3 assists. Like she had one of her turnovers was Stewie was going down the lane by the basket, and she went to throw it to her, and Stewie went left. She went the other way, and the pass was going where she was. So just miscommunication. So Rebecca Gardner had 2 points, and then Jalen Sherrod, who was in for Cloud. Well, she wasn't. It was she only played 3 minutes. I would have thought they would have given her more minutes just because with Cloud out, you know, trying to not burn out Sabrina. But New York shot 42% as a team. The Aces were 41. 3-point shooting was bad for both teams, 25.9 and 26.9 percent-wise. So, but the biggest difference was the turnovers. So New York was first quarter. New York was 19-16. Then the Aces outscored them in the second, 26-21. Then New York came back 22-18, and New York finished it out 25-18 in the scoring for. So they ended up winning 87-78. So this is, you know, the All-Star break is coming up here pretty soon. And from what they were saying, Jonquel Jones is going to be back after that. So New York is probably going to be a lot stronger going down the stretch, unless they get some sort of other injury. So that'll be interesting. Everything's getting quite interesting. Phoenix beat Minnesota today, and Phoenix is looking strong. Boy, when they're hitting their 3-pointers there, and they didn't today, and they still won. Phoenix is a strong team. So I'll be covering that one later today. So, okay, well, that's pretty much it. Hope everyone enjoyed the game, and we'll see you next time.